You want to know something? For what video games can offer in gameplay, they offer more for what they have in their belt. Music. God, this music is very calm and so breathtaking. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jose. I am the Paladin, and I just want to say I'm really stressed as f right now. God, I need some music to calm my ass down. Otherwise, I'll be crawling over my own depression. Oh my. Yeah, this is good. This is really beautiful. Okay, now this is boring. Let's change it up. Yeah, this is awesome! Okay, now this is something that I feel like talking about. Now, we all know about video games, right? It's fun, entertaining, and it is a scapegoat for us to escape the world for having to burn itself into rubble. Yep, this is fine. Now, if you guys grew up in the golden age where video games were known, then you should already know that video games were used to actually have some fun, and they still are. However, as the years go by and more video games are part of the entertainment lifestyle, assuming if you're into video games or not, the music in video games has become much more creative, artistic, and impactful in both the video game and music industry. Seriously, we went from 8-bit music to orchestra music, bitch! This is all thanks to the video game cartridges and CD audio discs in video games that allows composers to actually make music, from rock, jazz, orchestra, rap, 8-bit music, 16-bit music, a mixed genre soundtrack, the list goes on. To take a page from Plateau, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. You can't argue with facts, bitch! However, one of the things that really drives me to the core is that there are people that are saying that video games are not art, and that also includes video game music. What did you say? I'm sorry, but how in the f is video game music not art? Video games are part of our reality and how it creates both art and science in terms of technology and creativity. Hell, it's gotten big in our world that video games have become part of our culture in different parts of the world. They were featured in many museums like the 2010 Art of History of Games. They were classified as a form of artistic expression by the Minister of Culture in March of 2006, and they were shown in many numerous gaming conventions, most famously the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or as we like to call it, E3. So yeah, video games have been part of our culture, and no matter what country you are from, there's always a spot for you to join the video game fun. Except for those in China, because Jesus Christ. But I'm not here to talk about video games, I'm here to talk about video game music. So hold on to your thick butts, cause you guys are in for a treat. Let's begin the video, shall we? Now, if you guys have grown up with video games in the 1980s, you may know about this, but to those who didn't, like me, let me give you the rundown. When music was first made in video games, they didn't use instruments that were the equivalent of an orchestra or a dumpster band. No, see, in the past, video games were very, and I mean very limited, to the point that rock and orchestra music was imported into the games. So what did they do, you may ask? Simple, they used 8-bit machines. This genre of music was known as chiptune. It utilized synthesized electronic music with programmable sound generators into Nintendo's very first gaming console, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES for short. So back then, this kind of music was actually good to some. To others, it sounds like shit. Now, to be fair, this kind of music is actually subjective and I won't judge your tastes. However, you have to remember that video games were limited and the composers had to work with what they got, so take it or leave it. But as time goes on, chiptunes have soon evolved into video games where we go from 8-bit music to the golden age, that is, of course, 16-bit music. Yes! Now, the 16-bit music increases the music tones from the updated sound chip placed in the NES successor, the absolutely beautiful font and sometimes overrated Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES for short. And this was a change to how it improved the video game music during its glory days. This allowed the composer to make great soundtrack in the SNES. So we went from this to this. This sound chip in the SNES pushed music to its limits to make some beautiful soundtracks, more beautiful than my ex-girlfriend. God, why am I so lonely? So as the years pass by and more gaming consoles are released to the public, video game music has started to become more of a creative, artistic, and close to being a massive musical theater or a goddamn movie! This leads me to my next point of video game music being art, the composers. Now this is obviously a no-brainer. In order to make music, you need composers to help make the music pieces for the games.
Yeah, no honey!
Now when you guys think of music composers, you might think of ones like Ludwig van Beethoven, Antonio Vivaldi, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, because yeah, having Wolfgang in your first name makes you feel depressed. Oh shit. Okay, but for real, in video games, we have many famous composers in gaming that deserve a lot of love. Here are some examples! Okay, so for the first runner-up, we have Koji Kondo. This luscious man was responsible for making many Nintendo music, most famously the Mario franchise. Yes, this is the man who gave us the beautiful. Next up is a beautiful Japanese woman by the name of Yoko Shimomura. This woman made the soundtracks for the Street Fighter II, The World Warrior, and the Mario Luigi RPG games. However, she is best for working on the soundtrack on the beautiful video game series with the whack-ass complex story, Kingdom Hearts. And when you work on Kingdom Hearts, you know you're Class A material, bitch! Oh my god, I love these games. They're awesome! Except for you. F you. Regardless, Yoko Shimomura is a fantastic composer, and her making this fun and interesting music soundtrack to listen is an absolute treasure. Now for the other music composers that I know that make good works. There is Jake Hoffman, who has composed the Shantae Half Genie Hero games, the beautiful Japanese rock and jazz music by Shuji Meguro of the Persona series, and come on, you know I cannot forget about Jun Senoue, Crush 40, and Tomoyo Otani, who made the great Sonic the Hedgehog soundtracks. This slaps, and it still does! These composers have performed amazingly well. They are unique, creative, and their music is art. You can't debate that! However, if none of this still convinces you, then let me introduce you to one of the greatest composers of all time. Many have said that he is the Beethoven of video game music. He originally wanted to be a wrestler, but changed his career to make music. And since I said that, I'm pretty sure you guys know who exactly I am talking about. Nobuo Uematsu. This man, this beautiful man, is a goddess amongst video game composing. A god we must never take for granted. If you guys are familiar with his music work, he was a famous composer for his impactful, legendary, and sometimes crazy video game franchise, Final Fantasy. Uematsu was influenced by the singer Elton John and was a self-taught piano player who caught the eyes of Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy. So how does Uematsu handle the music?
It's a masterpiece.
please.
This man is amazing when it comes to composing. He brings piano, rock, emotion, and atmosphere into his music. And it's fantastic how this man has brought his work into the video game industry. And of course, as stated earlier, his music is art. And you cannot prove me otherwise. You know, throughout this whole video that I just showed you guys, I've learned that music can be a powerful tool, not just in terms of art, but how it provokes the player for its creative value in the music industry. Now look, I understand that most of you think that video games are not art, and more than just playing video games. And I can understand that, you're allowed to feel that way. But remember, video games are more than just games. They are part of our entertainment lifestyle for how it brought creativity and imagination to the public. And I'm grateful that we have video games in our lives, especially music, for how it impacted everyone's hearts and emotions. As Howard Shore once said, "I want to write and feel the drama." Music is essentially emotional language, so if you want to feel something from the relationships and build music based on those feelings. And that's the truth. Music makes us feel things to connect and to express how we feel emotionally and mentally. It's well thought out, and as I stated throughout this whole video, it's art. So let me ask you this. If music can be considered art, why can't video game music? There are many composers who work their butts off to give the memorable tunes that we've grown to love and will continue that legacy as time goes on. You can say that video games are just games, but when it comes to creativity, imagination, emotion, and compositing music, I'm happy to say that video game music is a form of art, and I stand by that either way. Well, that's all for me, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys like this video, please feel free to give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Have a nice day, ladies and gentlemen.